Hey everyone, it's Nichol Magouirk, and today I'm just going to share a little bit about my design process or how I plan out my layouts. And the layout I'm going to share here is just a pretty simple one, but the same basic principle goes for even my more intricate layouts. I almost always start with a sketch like you just saw there, and it's pretty rough. It's usually on notebook paper. I change the sizes of the photos a lot. You can see on the sketch here on my video, and I share it on my blog too, that the sizes and the photos and stuff aren't exactly what I ended up with, but that's okay. It just gives me a good starting place. And I do that for almost every single layout and most cards. What I do first is I usually pull up all of my photos that I'm thinking I'm going to want to use, and that gives me an idea of where to start on my sketch. And I knew for this layout that I wanted to use a lot of photos, so it was just pretty much figuring out which ones I wanted to focus on and which ones didn't really help tell the story and stuff like that. And I kind of came up with this idea of the photo strip along the top and then another photo strip along the bottom with the stuff in between. I've done this before and I like that idea, so I'm kind of doing the same thing. But I also really like embellishments, so I left a couple of the spots open so that I could add some die cut things in this instance, but I like to do that a lot. You could, add journaling in those spots or whatever, but it helps break up the photo collage, especially on a layout that's photo heavy like this one. So you can see this is pretty similar to my sketch. I've moved things around a little bit and whatnot, but I generally start with my photos, and then from the photos I get a sketch idea and a title. And the title kind of helps drive the theme and the embellishments that I want to choose for my page. Just like the title was great as it was, but I thought that this die cut kind of helped tell the story, and I created my own little Mickey die cut on my silhouette. It just kind of helps reinforce the theme, plus it adds some visual interest. So I'm starting to layer on things, but I haven't really adhered anything yet. That's another thing that I almost always do, is I wait till I'm very happy with the page before I adhere anything permanently. So there's quite a bit of a white border on this page, but this is kind of where I start layering on my embellishments. And I just lay them out and try to figure out what combination I like. I usually throw a whole bunch of things out on my table and I move things around a lot. But I'm just going to layer these die cuts that I made. I thought that looked kind of fun and added a little pop of color. So I just kind of keep working on it. And I usually leave it laying out on my desk because I might not be able to finish it all at that moment. So the next thing, I usually always try to keep in mind where I'm going to put my journaling. And in my sketch, I thought I might put it out on both sides, but as I was working on my title and I added that fun little circle or oval arrow rather, I decided that I thought it would look better this way. So I planned it out on my printer or on my computer screen and printed it out right on my background. Fairly easy. Just took a little bit of maneuvering to make sure I got it exactly where I wanted it. But once I had my journaling printed, I went ahead and I'm starting to adhere the things that I know I liked to my page. So I just start layering things on. Once I have my photos down and my background, my base, whether it be cardstock or pattern paper, layered, whatever, then I start adding on my embellishments. So that's all I'm doing here, is just adding. And once I've started layering on my embellishments, A lot of times I like to add a little bit of machine stitching. I always think it gives a nice finished look. That's just one of those things that I really like. I used a ruler on this particular page just because it's pretty graphic and I wanted the lines to be really straight. And I used my sewing machine right over that pencil line, and I'm just going back and erasing it. But sometimes I do really messy stitching or whatever, but it's usually after I've added on a few embellishments and things that I add a little machine stitching just to give it a finished look. And the same with these notches, I use those a lot too. Those are one of those things that I think just kind of gives a nice completed look to the page. So I'm just adding those now. My final step for any of my projects, whether they be cards or layouts, is the embellishing. I usually just layer those on and keep adding things until I feel like the project is finished. I hope this has given you an idea of how I go about planning and creating my projects, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop me an email or leave a post on my blog. You can get that address at the end of this video. Thanks for stopping by.